Souls-like is a term that I really don't like using, but it is a subgenre of games that are kind of scattered with hits and misses. A number of people, development studios, have wanted to recreate what From Software achieved with Dark Souls and Bloodborne. That lightning in the bottle moment. And some of them have done it really well. Some of them have done it in surprisingly great ways, like The Surge 1 and 2. Amazing games. Some of them completely missed the point. They missed what makes Dark Souls special. But this year we got something special. This year we got Mortal Shell. Now, Mortal Shell is a love letter. It really is. It is a love letter to Dark Souls. And honestly, you could tell me that this game is a Dark Souls game. It's in the Dark Souls world. It's just far away from any country we've ever seen before. And I would absolutely believe it. Yes, the gameplay is slightly different. The leveling up mechanics are all different, but it is beautiful. Slightly morbid, but it is a beautiful game to play, and you see the passion and the appreciation that these guys had for Dark Souls. It is reflected in Mortal Shell. And it's also worth pointing out that the guys behind Mortal Shell, well, they're not a massive studio. It is really just a small number of them. And with that in mind, considering what they've done with this game, it is pretty damn impressive. So let's get into it in more detail. Where it's different from Dark Souls, you won't be tailoring your character to the way you specifically want to play. You've essentially got 5 options. You can either play without a shell and have that whole nightmare, or you can play with one of the 4 shells available. Now, these shells will essentially be your armor suits. They will have the attributes to them. You can't level up your health, you can't level up your stamina or your resolve. These are things that are tied specifically to the suit of armor that you choose to wear, and you will have to find these suits. The first one, Horus, will be there when you come out of the tutorial area, but the rest you are gonna have to go and find. But as I've mentioned Horus, well, let's take a look at it. See, Horus is your basic balanced shell. He's great for people who don't want to lean too far in one direction, or more importantly, if you don't want to lose too much of one direction, because yeah, there is a trade-off for every single one of these. Horus is well balanced with resolve, with stamina, and with health, and it's good to start with Horus. The next one, Teal. Now Teal, yeah, I died a number of times actually trying to get that shell, because a lot of the times these shells are going to be guarded. But Teal's the sneaky one. Teal will dance 15,000 ways from Sunday and you'll never see which way he's going. His stamina is through the roof, and honestly I wish I could take his stamina and put it onto my guy, because then I'd be unstoppable. But the downfall with Teal is that his health is practically non-existent. His resolve, yeah, it's alright, but it's nothing special. Really, he comes down to dodging. So if you have a particular playstyle where you want to dodge, get in, throw a few attacks out, get out, Teal's your guy. Now thirdly, my guy. This is the one I used almost constantly throughout my gameplay, and when you see my gameplay, this is the guy I'm using. Solomon. I love Solomon. Now Solomon is built around resolve. His health is good, his stamina is alright, but he shines in the resolve. As I keep saying it, it should probably help to mention what the resolve is. Essentially, it's your special moves. Now, your special moves are tied to the weapons that you use, and honestly, I can take them or leave them. I don't really care, but my god, this suit of armor looks amazing. That's it. That's the reason why I chose Solomon, because the armor looks cool AF. But being that you have so much resolve, you can also perform a lot more parryings. Now, I've never been particularly good at parrying, but if you are, this game is actually pretty rewarding with its upgrades. It's definitely worth checking out, but again, yeah, I'm not much of a parrier. I just like the look of this outfit because look at it. Finally, you have my least favorite shell. This is one I haven't even upgraded anything to. Like, I personally haven't even unlocked his name. But this guy is Erdrim, which I think I'm saying right. Basically, Erdrim is your tank. Stamina isn't great. Resolve, yeah, not much point. But the health is through the roof. So with this guy, definitely recommend a big ass weapon for massive reach. But again, don't get too carried away because you will run out of stamina and then you won't be able to swing a leaf at the breeze. Now, upgrading these characters is different to in Dark Souls. As I said, you can't just sit around a bonfire and upgrade your health, extend your stamina, so on and so forth. Instead, what you'll do is pick up something called a glimpse. And this is a glimpse of a memory into someone's life. If you pick up, say, 5 glimpses as Solomon, and then you decide, you know what, I want to go to Horus, well, you've got to find glimpses as Horus. The Tar, which essentially is souls, I think, sort of, that will transfer over, but the glimpses very much stay to one character. So if you're going to go out farming, just keep that in mind. So what will these glimpses get you? Well, each character has their own particular upgrades, and this is a really cool feature. I really love how they've done this. You see, you have to unlock the shell's name. Now once you do this, you will gain access to unlocking all the other upgrades that the character has, but it's one step better than that, because every single unlock you do tells you more about the shell you're using, and I think that's a really cool aspect. Now again, yes, it's not quite the upgrade style, leveling up style we have seen in other games, but for this game I think it really works, and it works really well. Let's talk about weapons. Weapons are a kind of a downer for me. So the shells you'll find out in the world, and essentially you just need to run up to them and then possess them. That's pretty much it. There's a few gameplay mechanics that I'm missing out, and I will put it in a blog post pretty soon, but unlocking the weapons is slightly different. Again, there is only 4 weapons. You'll start with a longsword, and this is the sword that I pretty much use throughout the game because it's just the one I liked the most. But that's not necessarily me praising the longsword. On top of the longsword, you'll get a spear. You will also get some kind of hammer thing that looks a lot like Kratos' axe from God of War if it wasn't necessarily an axe. And you'll get a massive greatsword. But it's not enough just to find these things. No, see, you'll find them, or at least you'll find a totem of them, and then you'll be taken into sort of like a sub-dimension where you've got to beat the person wielding the weapon. So it's a simple premise. You want the weapon, you got to take it off a cold dead corpse. Again, I like this concept, and it was actually this concept that forced me to learn how to fight the way this game demands you to fight. You can't just rely on nipping in, nipping out with dodging. You can't just rely on that. You will have an ability called hardening, and essentially this is your shield. You harden up, and then you can take 1 or 2 hits depending on how you have worked your character. And that's really, really important. it's important to get to know how to properly fight in this game. Again, this game will not change around how you play. You have to learn how to play it, and it is really made easier when you learn the basic fundamentals of combat in this system. So why didn't I like the other weapons? Well, honestly, I can't really answer that. I mean, they look cool, and having a massive spear is pretty damn great, but there was just nothing really appealing. I mean, I tried to like the hammer, but I don't know, it just didn't work for me as well as the longsword. So that's what I stuck to throughout the entire game. Maybe on the second playthrough I will force myself to play with the other weapons, and there is definitely going to be a second playthrough then. Third, and maybe even a fourth. But for the time being, I am definitely just sticking to the longsword. Now let's talk about the environment. You see, the maps are a lot smaller than, well, certainly than the games I've been playing recently. This is not Ghost of Tsushima, but it is pretty damn good. The maps are really well done. Now, as I've said the word map, it is important to note there isn't actually a map for this game, at least not in the game. Because of this, I've gotten lost a couple of times already, and it has been incredibly frustrating. But again, these areas are not that big, so you're not exactly lost for long. You'll have your starter area after the tutorial, and joined to this starter area will be 3 separate areas. One based around fire, one based around ice, one sort of kind of based around, I mean, I want to say poison, but realistically just massive things that just want to kill you until you're dead, and then kill you again, and then throw you off a cliff, and then kill you. Because they're evil, and they're bastards. Every last one of them. What a game. These areas, as I said, aren't that big, but they are pretty well thought out, and they feel very different from each other. The bosses feel very different from each other, and the bosses are predominantly very human. I mean, not necessarily a human being on the same level, same height as you, but I think there is a special certain appeal when you're fighting a boss that is humanoid. Yes, the big blobby monsters are quite fun, but when it's fighting a humanoid enemy, well, you're kind of put on a level playing field, and every time you die, well, you died because you weren't paying attention, because you weren't really following the rhythm. I mean, there is one exception to that. The last boss I fight, I got clipped and I stuck, and I just couldn't move. I couldn't move. I was stuck underneath the boss's feet, and it killed me. But again, it's a very small development team. I'm willing to let these kind of bugs go, because again, this was not a full price game. This is a game that I got for £26, something like that. Pretty decent price, and I'm very, very happy with what I got for my money. There are a couple of sub-dimensions, but I don't really think they're worth going into, at least not in great detail. It's not like you can explore them. They're more or less fight arenas. But it's an enjoyable map. The enemies, while not massively diverse, are diverse enough for the area that you're in. And once you beat a boss, you'll take something from them called a gland. This changes the world that you're in. This is kind of like a day and night thing, and it's fantastically well done, because once you've taken the gland, you'll start seeing more creatures similar to what you are outside of your shell. And that's pretty damn interesting. These things are wild, and they will hit you, they will swipe at you, they will jump at you, and they're all around pains in the ass, but it's really nice to see. They have a certain appeal to this type of design. Now, unfortunately, these are pretty much the only enemies you will be fighting. At the moment, there is no online features, and I don't know if that's something that's going to come in, but, you know, playing Dark Souls over and over again is somewhat appealing because you could be invaded by someone who's just wanting to ruin your day, or you could want to ruin someone else's day. And you don't really have that feature here, but it would be pretty cool to have that kind of thing. Now, I don't know how they would do it. I don't know if it's even possible to have it. Maybe it would just be an arena, but certainly it would be enjoyable. And online features in a game like this, yeah, I'm all for that. One thing I do want to point out is the level of passion and beauty in this game. Now, you've heard pretty much constantly throughout this video the sound of a lute, the musical playings of a lute. Well, that's my character in this game playing a lute. Yes, you heard me right. You play this game, you can play the lute. There's 2 lutes that I've found so far. I don't know if there's going to be more. If there is more, I've just missed them. But they're fantastic. They're brilliant. And when you are around NPCs, friendly NPCs, they will react to you playing this flute. You'll have these sort of bonfire spirit guardians that you would normally see in Dark Souls who do your leveling up. You'll see them just bobbing and weaving and relatively having a great time to you playing the lute. It's fantastic. I mean, hell, I even petted a cat after I played it a song on the lute. Hell, I even sat down in front of a giant frog and played the lute. Just a little heads up, do not try and do that with the small frogs. The small frogs are dicks. They want to kill you. They will kill you. They're poisonous for some reason. But the big one who could actually eat you, placid as anything. You can even talk to it. You can talk to a giant frog and then play it a lute song. It's brilliant. So, finally I want to talk about this game's difficulty, because that is a running thing in Souls-like games. As I said at the start of this video, Lords of the Fallen didn't quite understand what makes Dark Souls so special. It's not because Dark Souls is a hard game, it's because it's rewarding and it's fair, which is not something that Lords of the Fallen did. So, the combat in this game, the difficulty in this game, is it fair? Is it rewarding? Is it enjoyable? Yeah. Yeah to all of that. Yes, I've died countless times, and when you die first time round, you'll be knocked out of your shell and you'll have the opportunity to get back in that shell, but if you die again, that's it. You're gone and you're sent back to the last Fire Emblem sister, weird, scary, dancey lady that is absolutely going to give me nightmares. You'll go back to her, but there's always something you did wrong. Scratch that. Providing there wasn't a bug, there is always something you did wrong in those situations. The combat system is fair. Once you learn how your particular weapon moves throughout the world, as long as you don't go running into the middle of a bunch of enemies and get your ass handed to you, you'll do really well. You can pretty much take on everything at the beginning if you think you have the skill. Again, combat comes down to an effective blend of you using your resolve, you using the hardening shield ability, you using dodging and attacking when you can. I know there are people out there who will be able to do this game without taking any hits. Now, I most certainly am not one of them, but I can't see how it wouldn't be possible. The game is fair, and because it's fair, it's incredibly fun. This game is not going to be my game of the year for 2020. That has to go to Ghost of Tsushima, especially with the online features that we're going to see pretty damn soon. However, this game is a very close second. Mortal Shell is a game that I'm going to be playing for a long time coming, and I definitely want to see these guys make another game. So after all is said and done, yes, this game is absolutely worth your time, your effort, and your money, quite frankly. It's not that expensive, it's not a AAA game, it's not 60 quid, but it is damn good, and it's worth every penny. Even though it is a bit short, it's fantastic. Again, it was made by a small studio of people who actually cared enough about their jobs. They actually cared and had passion and pride in what they were actually doing. So much so that you can run over a lute and it will sound like you are running over a musical instrument. I don't know why that tickles me so much. I don't know why I laughed so much for so long the first time I did it, but it's great to see game developers with such a passion and pride in their work that they put that little extra detail when they didn't have to. This game is pretty damn awesome. So that's my take on it, on Mortal Shell. I will be doing a blog review of it in the upcoming weeks, hopefully by the end of this week. So follow me on Twitter, BamGibson30, to keep updated on things of that nature. If you want to get yourself some awesome merchandise, because we stand together, there will be a link down below for tailren.tmail.com, where tons of designs. Most of these designs, the proceeds are going to charity. There will be limited edition shirts that come up and go off and come up and go off. So again, follow me on Twitter to keep updated with all that. Or you can like Tailren Marketing on Facebook. It's not something I have complete control over, but it is something I get involved with every now and then. So that being said, enjoy the rest of your day, keep safe, and I will see you next time.